So dear students, we are starting already. So we have today a new topic on the accounting skills, which is about introduction to double entry and preparation of trial balance. Firstly, I would like to remind you about your homework assignments that I gave you the last time. So I received your papers. Yeah, it's quite good because I can see that most of students have done it in the right way, and I received actually more than I expected. That's very good. But your assessment on your assignment is still in the process, because here is I got some 20 to 30 of papers. Have to check all of them first. So we would start first from the new topic right now. Then if we have a time, we'll continue with your homework assignment. I would open you the right answers and we can discuss about that. So I hope you are all fine. So you still can send me your papers, because if I didn't show you my answers, that means that your paper is still acceptable. So yes, right now I just received from Mr. Ahmad Javid your assignment. Because when I show you my answers, then after that there's no reason if you send me your papers, right? Because I'm already showing you the correct answers. So before if I didn't show you anything, that you can still send me your papers. So, and we would review our homework assignment at the end of this class, okay? First, we are going to start from the new topic. So, the topic is about double entry and how to prepare the trial balance. Maybe you have heard about the trial balance. It's like the draft balance of the balance sheet itself. We do the trial balance before we are going to report the balance sheet itself. So here is our structure of the topic would be double entry posting, how to enter the doubles and records, about the balancing of accounts, the trial balance itself, what is it, and we can see the examples of trial balance. As well, we have some homework assignment based on trial balance, and the errors about the not disclosed in trial balance. So at the end of this talk, you should be able to post transaction to ledger, close the accounts itself, and prepare the trial balance. And your homework assignment would be based on how to prepare the trial balance. So if you have mastered this topic, you should be able to use the terms like ledger, debit, and credit, and trial balance. If you are familiar with this term, that is very good. If not, it's not so bad, because we are going to learn about this. So we have, before we have started about how to analyze the transactions. You remember, we have tried to prepare some balance sheet. And now we are going to learn about how we can record all our activities we have in the businesses. So recording is the most important step in accounting for any company, for any business entity, for any organization itself. So, however, before the recording, we must identify the event had occurred. So what that means? Before we record any activity that we have in our company, we have identify what kind of its activity. Is it referred to finance or not? Is it refers to the accounting itself? For example, the recruitment of staff. You know that when we hire the people, It's not the transaction itself when we recruit people, when we have some interviews, right? But the cost we do as some expenses, this is will hit the recording. We put in the accounts, in our accountants, because it will be affect the company economically, right? When we recruit the new people, as example, we are inviting the people, spending time for them, to interview them, to test them. So we have some expenses during our work, right? So this would be the cost for the recruiting would be seen as the activity which we can record in our balance, right? So as well, recording, we can record all the things that we do in the business, which is concerns about the money, about our costs, about our profits. When we sell products, when we buy products, when we rent buildings and pay for rental, this is all the activities must be recorded in our accounts. So let's see. We have some examples as well. So here is given to you the definition of accounting. So what is accounting itself? This is the process of identifying, measuring, and communicating economic information to users of the information to permit the informed judgments and decision making. Sorry. So the accounting, as we have previously we already defined it, right? What is accounting itself? Now here is another definition how we can identify what's accounting. When we can measure our all economic information, which is the user needs, and we can record on the papers, on the accounts, right? So accounting, this is the accounting is like a system which we do accounting when we record, and what it provides the financial information about the company, right? It provides them the financial positions of the company. What is in the position company right now? Does company have any profit or loss, right? And what's the turnover of the company itself? You remember we have talked previously who is the users of accounting, the statements, and why they need the financial statements to see, as banks, for example, to get a credit, or our suppliers, for example. This is all about accounting. So now we are going to move for double entry. So each transaction must be recorded, must be put on the account, in the simple words. And each account should be shown on the separate page in the accounting books. And so here is given to you a layout. Sorry, I want to show you first. This is it. So when we have some recording, when we do recording in our accounts, so we have a title of account written here. Then we have two sides. Which the left-hand side is of the page called the debit side, and the right-hand side of the page calls the credit side. Okay, so when we have any kind of activity so I want to just explain it in the simple words. Like we have some activity in the company. Example, we pay for rent. For rent of house or apartment, or rent for office, right? This is we do some expenses, right? And this activity must be recorded in our account that we pay the money for the owner of the offices, for example. And this record must be shown in two ways. In the debit side, we have to show on the credit side as well. Later, I'm going to show you the examples, and it will be more understandable for you. Because I want to show you that, for example, in the e-books any books, literature, we have some explanation what's double entry and how to record. And I want to just explain you in the simple words. Like if you are for example, you are not the accounts itself. You are not maybe some of you don't have some finance background, for example. I just want to explain in simple words that would be understandable for you, and you can do it on yourself later after those classes. So we have some rules for double entry bookkeeping or double entry accounting. So the rules of double entry bookkeeping is given to you in the table. So let's see first one. For example, we have assets, right, in our accounts. So when we do recording, where we should put the assets? Like for example, if our assets increase, like cash in the company being increased, so we should put it on the debit side. And in the debit side would be increased. If our for example cash is being decreased, we show that the credit side that it has been decreased. The money goes out from the company. Next one, liabilities, right? Liabilities, which is we have to pay for someone. We borrow the money from someone, like a banks or partners or somebody else. So here is the different situation. As you see, it's opposite to assets. If our liabilities being increased, what that means liabilities being increased? That means we have taken some credit from the bank, example. And we must show it that in the credit side, it's being increased. Sorry. Next one is if our liabilities being decreased. That, for example, we have paid our credit to the bank. We closed our credit. Now we have no any credits and liabilities in front of the bank. And we show it in the debit side. Next one is the capital. Capital, you remember, this is the owner's equity or the shareholder's equity. The capital, the money that have own money. Oh, sorry, the companies that have own money. So here is the same as liabilities. If it's been increased, like we invested money to the company, or we have been obtained a new investor who brings the money to the business, right? And we show it in the credit that it has been increased. But if it's decreased, like capital, for example, we have taken some money from the capital to buy a building for the business or to buy some transportation and when this capital being decreased, we show in the debit side that it's being decreased money taken from the company. So any questions so far? Because this is the main things you must to understand and must remember always after when we do any kind of recordings or we prepare any kind of financial statements. First, you have to understand these transactions about assets, liabilities, and capital, when it's been increased and when it's been decreased, where we should show it in the credit side or the debit side. First, understand. Next one is remember always. Keep in mind here. Any questions so far? So some of you say that asking about how about the banks, how they record the transactions. So right now we are talking about not the banks, about the companies, any organizations. But in the banks, they have a different the accounting compared to the companies like limited companies, like any kind of company. The bank, the financial institution like bank, they have a different accounting and how to record all the transactions. But we are going to study about overall accounting and how to do recording at any company. As I know, there is yes, some of you say they have some opposite system of the recording, right? As I remember, they have opposite one. So let's see the here is giving you just double entries, just examples of the double entries, the samples, how we do record. So T account is the two-side account layout that has been used to apply and show the double entry bookkeeping. So if we can get at any assets, you remember, firstly we show the transaction itself, then assets would be increased in the debit side, which is the left-hand side, and we will decrease on the credit side, which is the right-hand side. Here we show you the capital account and any liabilities account, same as given previously the description. So in the debit side would be decrease, we show here is, and from the credit side would be increased our accounts. So I have some questions about how to record, and this is you remember when we have some transactions, it would be shown in the two sides, which is called the double entry. We show on the debit side as well on the credit side. It would be increase or decrease. Here is it's like a bit difficult to explain. Just want to show you some examples. Let me show you examples. For example, the asset of stock. So this is example based on the assets account. Here is, look at this. So we have some sales, right? We sell, that means we sell some products and receive the money. So if our sales in cash, we receive the payment in cash when we sell our products. So that means we receive the cash. That means our cash money will be increased, right? And we show on the debit side that is being increased. And if we are selling the product, that means our stocks being goes out from the company and has been decreased, right? And we show that the sales in the credit, that is our sales, has been decreased. Next one, if we have sales on credit, that means we sell some products, but we are not receiving the cash money. We sell it on credit. That means we have some debtors that they must pay for us, but they will do it later. So our debtors will be increased, right? Because we haven't received the money in the company, in our accounts. That would be cash or non-cash. And our sales will be decreased because the products, which is goods or services, goes out from the company. Let me see one thing, just a moment. Next one, let's see the debtor pays. When our debtors pay the money for product that we have sold, we are receiving the money itself. For example, in cash. So cash is assets, right? And it will be increased in our company. We are receiving the cash money. That's why we show the cash at the debit side. And the debtors itself will be decreased because they paid the money. Now they don't have the liabilities in front of us, right? Next one, debtors returns. That means the debtors, they return the products to us. For example, we sell some products, some goods, for example, and now they are returned those goods. So, and the returns invoice would be increased in the debit side, as this is assets that, like goods, comes back to our company, like a stock one, and it would be increased, and we show on the debit side, which is called returns invoice. And the debtors will be decreased. Why? Because they return the product. That means we won't pay. They won't pay any. They won't pay any money because they already returned the products to our company. This is maybe many kinds of reasons could be when the suppliers, for example, returns the products, some goods for the company. Maybe they have find some I don't know, unquality goods, something like this. So any questions so far about the sales? This one is, let me see first. You have some. So here is asking me about for the cash sales, why cash decrease, and when we sell, we increase the cash. Yes, when it's right, you say that's right. When we sell products, the cash will be increased. And for this transaction, it's shown this picture, first one. First, from the left side, you see, when we sell the products, cash increasing. Cash is assets, and the increasing in assets will be shown in the debit side. Here is shown you debit cash, like debit increase, like cash increase, and the sales will be decreased because the goods, the stocks goes out from the company. It's decreasing. We sell the goods already. We sold the goods. So what kind of another question? So some of you say that they can't hear me, or it's okay. I think you have to manage your microphone, but because of most of students can hear me well. So, and some of you asking about if there is any errors can be made in the double entry. About the errors, we are going to talk later. Right now, I want to just explain you how we do recordings, how we double entry any kind of transactions. Okay. So, any about this question about the sales. So, some of you asked me about what's the benefit of T account. The benefit, we do understand how transaction is going on. Then, with this help, with these recordings, we put on the trial balance, and we can prepare the correct trial balance. Or any after trial balance, we prepare the correct balance sheet, right? We report our all accounts. So, if no any question, we can move. So we have a purchases. This is when companies do business, buy some kind of products, well, like raw materials to produce some goods. Okay, this is purchases. So if we purchase, if we buy some kind of raw materials by cash. So first, cash would be on the credit side because of that we pay by cash and money goes out from the company, right? And the purchases, we buy some raw materials or some stock, and it will be increased, and we show on the debit side, right? This is the simple one. As we have seen the sales, but this is opposite because purchase, we buy product. we pay for the debt. We, as the debtors, we pay for our suppliers. Another one, credit on purchase. Credit purchase. That means when we buy products like raw materials, and we won't pay by cash. Maybe we don't have a cash at the moment, and we are taking it on credit. So we told like our suppliers will pay you later, during 1 month. So the purchase will be increased that we bought the goods and bring to our company, like for example, produce something, and the creditors will be increased as well, because the creditors is liabilities, right? And it will be increased, and we show on the credit side, because we must pay the money. And our creditors, for example, as suppliers who sold the raw materials for us, they have liabilities for us. Like we have actually liabilities in front of them. And this is the creditors is a liability itself. In the balance sheet, we show as a liability. And you remember the transaction liability in the credit side will be increased. So our liability didn't increase. And we show it on the credit side. Yes, we will pay it in the future. We haven't paid, but we will pay it in the future. So our liability is being increased, you see. Next one is the pay creditors. Now, for example, after some time, 1-3 months, we have some cash money to pay for our creditors, to pay for the raw materials which we bought the last time. So here is the cash money will be decreased, and we show on the credit side, right? Because we are giving the money for our suppliers and the payment itself, and the creditors will be decreased as well. You remember? Because we have some liabilities. Now we are paying the cash. Now we don't have liability. When we do payment by cash, our liabilities will be decreased. No, we don't have a liability in front of our suppliers. And we show it on the debit side, as the liability on the debit side would be decreased. Next one, we return the good. Now we think that the raw materials that we have bought, that maybe quality is not meets our requirements, like so we have to return to the supplier. Here is the returns outward. We return the goods itself. We show it on the credit side. That it been decreased, the returns our. And the creditors we show on the debit side is our liability, like our like we are the have liabilities would be shown in the debit that is being decreased, right? Because we return money, we won't pay any cash. Sorry, we return the goods itself. For example, you can connect these 2 transactions. Like first we buy we purchase the goods by credit. Then after 1-2 weeks, identify that the goods are being low quality, and we have to return to the suppliers, right? And we haven't made any cash payment, for example. And here is we are just return the goods to the suppliers, and the creditors will be decreased because we won't pay any money. We won't need to pay because we are going to return the goods itself, right? And the returns outwards will be increased on the credit side because we are returning the goods itself. So any questions so far about purchases? This is the opposite for the sales. So sales, we sell products, purchase, we buy products. So if no any questions, we can move. So now you know when we have some sales or purchases and how we must record it, where it should be decrease or increase as example, and if we pay by cash or check on credit. And here is giving you that the effect of profit and loss. So we have some revenue like sales. And revenue minus the expense will be showing you profit or loss, right? You remember I have given you this formula on the last classes. That is revenue, which is the sales, minus expenses that we do during our business, and we get some kind of amount. If it's the revenue more than the expenses, we will get the profit, right? If our expenses would be higher than revenue, we will get the loss. So what is the revenue? Revenue, this is income generated. Like sales, as I told you, like some commissions we received, like some rent received, which means we rent some buildings or offices and we receive the payment based on the rental payment which calls. And what is expenses? Expenses costs include in the generated income. That means when we do an income, we run the business to get income, the profit. For example, to get a profit itself, we do some expenses, right? Like we're hiring people, we pay the salary. Here is given to utilities that we pay for electricity, for water bills, we pay for rent of offices, we pay like for our transportations, like vehicles, we use the cars for our businesses. Or maybe we have some repairs, all the like digital couriers, all those expenses that we do during our businesses is called the expense which include generating in the income. So this is all expenses must be deducted from our revenue, from our income. Then we can see if we do have any profit or if we do have any loss. So next one. Now how we showing the revenue or expenses in the double entry. So let me show you first the revenue. So if we do some like sales. So it's like sales, like same as we can say the revenue, right? So like income. So when we have a revenue, income or sales, it is our capital, right? And we show on the credit side when it's been increased. When we receive the income, we show on the credit side. If we have expenses, of course we do have expenses to get the income, right? The expenses is our assets. And we show it, if it's increased, we show it on the credit side. When it's increasing, we're showing it on the credit side. So here is these two examples. First we'll explain you about revenue. So we have revenue. Example, we received cash money from our suppliers when we or from our customers, like we sell some goods. And we receive money, cash. So we show on the debit side that the cash has been increased, right? And as we receive the cash, it's our income that as well. That means our capital, which is revenue, will be increased as well. And we show it on the credit side. You see? So we show it in the two times. Like first, we receive the cash from our customers, in the cash being increased, and we show on the debit side, and the revenue is being increased as well because cash itself is the company's capital money. So what about the expenses? So we do some expenses during our business, right? Always do the expenses. So when we do some expense, like we pay for like utility bills, like electricity or water, when we use in our offices, for example. So our expenses, when we pay the bills, will be increased, right? And the increase in expenses we show on the debit side. But we pay those expenses, for example, by cash for our bills. So if we pay by cash our bills, that means the cash will be decreased, right? The money goes out from the company to close our bills. So, and we show the cash on the credit side, which is being decreased. So here is giving you double entry effects of the revenue and expenses when we have a revenue at the business or when we do some expenses. So any questions so far? This is the rules as well for double entry about revenue. Expense always will be like this. If it's increased, you show credit side of the revenues. If expense will be increased, you show it on the debit side as it's been increased. This is the rules. And what we change, we show always like this, which is given you on the slide. So, if no any question, we can move. Okay, then next one, I'm giving you some examples based on the double entry. So I think that will be for you interesting because we can solve. Here is giving you some exercises, but the answers as well, like the solving, so we can see how we can do recordings and double entries. So here is, this is what you have asking me just right now. Some of you asking me how we can do the double entry, just show you on the papers. This is here is those examples. So first example, we have a business and we must pay the rent of 200 USD in the cash. Like we rent office, but the 200 is of course, this is not price to rent the office, which would be much more expensive, but this is just example. So we rent the office and pay 200 USD in cash, right? This is simple, right? Yes, clear. Now we have to show it. First, we pay cash. That means our cash goes out from the company. Is being decreasing. Yes, right? And we show on the credit side. Here is cash, credit side is being decreased because we paid it for the rent. Now we show that the rent is our expenses. You remember the rent is expenses. So remind about the expenses. When is the expense being increased? We show in the debit side, right? And we show that the debit side, the rent is being increased as expenses. So we have one transaction, right? And we must show it in the debit and the credit side, like which calls the double entry. With double entry, one transaction, which is made the rental payment, right? So in the cash will be decreased because we pay by cash, and the rent itself as a transaction would be increased as its expenses itself, and we show on the debit side. So any questions so far about this transaction? So you remember I have shown you the previous slide first. You remember all expenses. When we have some expense, we do payment like for something, for rent or for something else, for bills. We pay, right? And it's been increasing our expenses. And we show on the debit side. Yes, right. When your expenses is being increased, when you have expense, you must pay. You do some cost from the cost, right? We show always on the debit side. That is being increased. So this is what asking the Mr. Sahibzada. So in the transaction is very important. if we have expenses like rental payment, how we pay for these expenses, like pay in cash or bank transfer, or we pay later, maybe take some credit, like and each transaction will explain you if you have some expense, how you do pay, in what kind of way, cash or non-cash, on credit, maybe like this. So I think the rent of the rental payment is okay. It's clear for you, right? We can move for the next one. You see, I want to explain you these transactions very well as I'm trying, and you should do understand, because later you'd have some lot of kind of homeworks based on these transactions, based on this, how to prepare the trial balance. So next one, we have a motor expenses of $355 US, which is paid by check. Here is. That means the company paid by check $355 for motor expenses. Like maybe a company have a like vehicle, some auto cars, and cars must be repaired, like change some things inside of car. I'm not good in those things, like the mess know, yes, about, or change the motors inside the car or something else. So, and the company pay for the repair by the check, not cash. You see, this is very important, that it paid by the check. First, our motor expenses itself, right? It will be increased, right? If it's increased, we show on the debit side, right? Here is first one. And here is given to a bank. So if we pay by check, this means we pay by bank, which is non-cash, right? We won't take a cash money. We pay by bank. We use the money which we have in our accounts, of the bank accounts, right? All of you have a bank account, I think so. So all of us have Visa cards and so on. So, and this means that we pay by non-cash through the bank. And as we pay by bank is our assets. Why? Because the cash is assets, right? The resources that we have in the company. And bank, which means the money in the accounts of the bank, as well our assets, our resources, and it will be decreased because we pay by check. So any questions? This is same as the cash. You see, motor expense as the rent expenses here is on the debit side, because it's all expenses has been increased. We show in the debit side. But with first in the rental we pay by the cash, which is cash would be decreased on the credit side. But in the motor, despite of the motor expense, we pay by the check through the bank, through our bank accounts that we have in our company. That means we show it in the credit side. The money which we have in the bank accounts has been decreased because we issued a check for the repayment, right? So just have some questions. Let me first read. So some of you asking me, we have any difference between the cash in hand or cash in bank? So the cash both of them, the cash in hand and in the bank, all are our resources, right? Our assets, and will be recorded same. But we just must show it in our transaction that is a cash credit side. The word is the cash we use. And when we pay by the check or make some transfers, like TV transactions through the bank, we must show it the bank, like the word use the bank. that any like accounts who knows the finance itself, if he or she can see your transaction like about the motor vehicles, if she that she, for example, I don't know what you have done, what you paid that you paid the motor expense by the check. I won't see this sentence. I see only that in the debit I can see the motor expenses. On the credit I can see that the bank. And as I know finance, I can identify, okay, that we have been paid for motor expenses. And if in the credit I can see the bank, that means the company paid through the bank, not the cash. Maybe some made transactions or paid by the check. Issued the check for the payment, right? You see? If you don't see the sentence which is given to you, like transaction sentence, which is motor expenses of this paid for that one, just you can see the debit side which is happened and the credit side what is happened. So it's important that you show right words, right accounts on the right side. Okay, this is what is important. The difference between the cash and bank. So we can move next one. We have next one, the third example. The $60 US cash received for the commission earned by the business. So this is what that means. We have business. So now we're receiving some, like we can say it like we received the revenue, which is commission we received for our what we have done for our business. Maybe we're producing some goods or we are producing some services, like for example, and we receive the income of $60 in cash. So how we would show you? So first, remember this is not expenses. Before two of them, which is motor expense and rent, was expenses itself. Yes. Which is transaction by the expenses name. Now, this transaction, based on that, we receive the revenue income. So, it will be opposite of the expenses. So, our cash has been increased and we show on the debit side. Why? Because we received $60 US, right? And our cash has been increased. Next one, the commission received, which is the transaction which is called commission received, is related to our businesses, right? That we produce some services, and it also will be increased, and we show it on the credit side. Why? Because this is our revenue. When revenue or income is being increased, we show on the credit side. So let me show you that slide first, which I wanna. You see, now we are talking about revenue. So when revenue is being increased, you remember we received $60. We show that the revenue increased and show on the credit side. And you see, we received the revenue in the cash money, so we show on the debit side that cash is being increased. Because of why? Because our cash is our assets. Any assets will be increased in the debit side. So you see, this is same example as given to you in the transaction. Yeah, it should be simple, but most of us can confuse because of those where to put the debit or credit side and about the revenue and expenses. So that's all for examples. So if it's clear, we can move. So what is the drawings? So drawings. This is when the owners will want to take some cash money out from the business for their private use. I think you remember we had some assignment based on this. When I think we have some examples on the green company who has taken some money from the company for private use. So if the owner take some cash money from the company for his own use, for example, to use it for holidays, to spend it holidays money, sorry, or to buy the car, for example, for his family, or to buy a house for his family. This is like personal use, right? So this is called drawings. Actually, it's for the business. It's not so good when cash money goes out from the business, right? But as you are owner of your company, of your own company, you can do it, right? It depends on you, how you're responsible in front of your business. So the better situation if you won't take any money from your business for your own use. But if you do so, it calls drawings. So any money taken out as drawings will reduce capital, right? Because the capital is the money which is owner invests to the company. And one time, the owner needs that money to buy something or to pay for some expenses. And he or she can take those money from the company. So, and here is giving you examples how you see, if the owner, I mean, as we are owners, for example, of our businesses, when we take any kind of money from our company, it will be money, or can we take some stocks like some goods or raw materials, any kind of resources. It's called drawings if you use it for personality, and we must record it as well in our accounts. Okay, don't forget about this. We must record it because our capital will be reduced, and we must show and explain for the other users why our capital has been decreased. Because the owner has taken the money for personal use, or because the owners take money to pay for his own expenses, and we're going to return it later. But anyway, we have to record and show in our accounts. For example, here is on July 25th, the owner takes 100 USD cash out of the business for his own use. Yes, this is a simple example. So first, our cash money has been decreased, right, for 100 USD. So we show that the cash, no any 100 USD we have in our capital. The cash has been increased. The owners took money. And we show the drawings. It has been increased for 100 USD. What is the drawings? It's as well like expenses. And it has been increased, right? Because the owners takes the money. And we show on the debit side. Like the drawings, it has been increased for 100 USD. So any question, just let me read your messages. You have a lot of things to write for me. Someone has some personal problems. I'm not sure with, I think it's with your, I guess with your connections. Okay, the question is owner liable to pay these drawings or not? But you see, this example, if you are owner of your own business, of your own company, you have taken some money for your personal use. So it depends on you. You can back this money for the business, or you won't back it. It will be drawn. Just we showed that this drawings has been, as some expenses has been increased. It depends on the owner, and depends on how owner is responsible for his or her own business. I'm sorry for those students who had some low connections, a problem with the connections. I can't do anything from my side, sorry. So next one, let me show you the next example. Here is on July, sorry, on July, the owner takes 300 UZ of goods out of the business for his own use. Now the owner, you see, owner taking not the money, cash money from the company, but he's taking goods which is cost for 300. You see, sometimes owners do like this could happen this situation when they can get some goods. For example, let me like explain you. Like I'm owner of a shop, so like a small shop. I sell some vegetables, some fruits. So, and this is an example. Like I'm taking some fruits or vegetables from my shop. You see, this is the goods of my business, right? Goods, the fruits, the vegetables which is stock in stock. All this is real belongs to the business itself. But I'm taking for my own use, maybe for my family to eat it, or I don't know, or I have some guests, I have to prepare food. So I'm taking for my personal use. And this is also drawings, because I didn't pay for this fruits or vegetables. I haven't paid for my business. I just taking it from my shop, that's all, and brings to my home. And this is a call like when the owners take some goods from the company for personal use. And what do? We show on the debit side the drawings as its expenses for 300. Like means I have taken the fruits, but I didn't pay for that. Just taking it for free. But it can't be for free because it's business. For any kind of things you have to pay, right? And you have to record it. And drawings as expense will be increased for 300. And the purchases will be decreased for 300. Why purchases will be decreased? Because I have taken there some fruits and vegetables. I have taken some goods from my business. And this is the goods, like the vegetables or fruits. This is all the purchases of the company, right? The company purchases from other suppliers to sell it. So it will be a decrease. And I show on the credit side. So you have to remember one thing, is that if owner takes money or goods from his own business, it's called drawings. And if it's as a drawings, it seems as company expenses. And as expenses, it will be increased on the debit side and will be decreased on the credit side if it's taken by cash or by the whatever we have in goods or stock or other things. So, but the important thing is that you do the separate your own private expenses with the business one. You remember the accounting concepts about the business entity, that the business would be the business budget will be separate from the owner's personal budget and must be separate actually. If you do that kind of things like your drawings, you must expect that you have some problems in the future. If you take some cash money from the business, you might expect that those cash money you would be needing in the future to pay for your supplier, for example. So what to do? Yes, the better things if you are returning later, if you have some possibility. Yes, that the concept called the separate entity, like the business entity would be separate from the personal entity, from the owners. So next one, now we have seen the double entry postings. Now I want to show you some examples of trial balance. Here is given to you, and just a moment. First, I want to explain to you what is trial balance. Okay, the first is all about the theory. So trial balance is a list of all the accounts used, including the corresponding balance at the specific date. Normally, the trial balance would be prepared at the end of the specific date period, and the debit and credit totals need to be equal. So normally, the trial balance we prepare at the end of year, for example, in December. And in the trial balance, all our debits and credits must be equal. You remember, as the balance sheet, we have the equal account equation, which means assets equal to liabilities and capital. So the main purpose of preparing the trial balance is to ensure that all total debits and credits balance are the same. So the main purpose of trial balance should be that you have been recorded all your transactions in the correct way. So an unequal amount of the total balance indicates that we have some errors that during our our recording. So the trial balance, when we do prepare all our expense we have or some income we have generated from the businesses. And first let me show you the example. Here is Ring Kyber Service, trial balance of the Ring Kyber Service company as at 31st of December 2000. So the trial balance would be prepared at the end of each year. Here is given to you some accounts, what kind of transactions has been in the company. And we show the debit side and the credit side. We show all the figures, amounts on the debit or credit side. At the end, we must calculate the total amount of our debits and credits, and they are actually must be equal. So the debit must be equal to credit, and credit must be equal to debit. Here is, for example, the company has a cash money for 19,130. So sorry, RM means Malaysian ringgit. This is example from Malaysian books. Just give it to RM like Malaysian ringgit, or you can put USD. Doesn't matter. So we have a cash. It's assets. If we have a cash assets, we show in the debit side, right? When the cash is being increased. Accounts receivable, that means money which we must receive in the future. It's our assets as well. It's the future's money, like we can say. We show it in the debit side as well. Supplies. We show on the debit side the money we should receive from our suppliers. Prepaid insurance. Insurance, this is prepaid insurance, like this is our expenses. We pay for insurance. So as expenses will be increased on the debit side, we show on the debit side. The land we have, you remember this land is our assets, right? We show on the debit side for 20,000. Office equipment, this is all our assets. We show on the debit side. Next one comes like with the liabilities and capital. Like accounts payable, that means we must pay for someone. We have to pay money, but we haven't paid, and that means we have some liability in front of the suppliers or customers. And when we have liabilities, it will be increased from the credit side, and we show this amount for the credit side. Next one, notes payable as well, the money which we have to pay in the future. It's our liabilities. Deferred rental, The deferred rental, the rental payment which we have to pay, but we haven't paid yet. Like maybe we'll pay later. The capital, you remember capital is our money, the company's money. So we show, when it's increasing, we show on the credit side as a liability, same as a liability. The drawings, you remember drawings is our expenses, because when the owner takes some money as expense, when it's increased, we show on the debit side, 8,000. Next one, service revenue. Revenue is our income generated from the business. So we show it on the credit side as the future is capital, right? The salary expenses as well is on the common expenses, comes on the debit side as our assets. Rental expenses, utility, supplies expenses, and sundry expenses. All these expenses, when our expense has been increasing, were shown on the debit side. It's our assets, it's our activity we do. So, and after when you have some accounts, after you put on the right side, debit or credit side, you do calculation of the total amounts, and they always should be equal. The debit should be equal with the credit one, and we must have a balance. You see, in the ring IB series, we have a right trial balance. When we have a balance, when we have equation between the debit and credit, that means the ring Kyber service company have prepared a correct trial balance, and all information are true, should be true, but we hope that is true, and all transactions being recorded in the correct way, in the right way. Okay. So, and another things I want to show you in just a moment. What is the balancing of accounts? As I told you previously, that all our, like here is in the trial balance, it must be equal. We must have a balance between the debit and credit. It must be equal. But sometimes it's not equal. Even if you do right reporting, just right now, I would like to explain you first. Before it, I have some questions. What is RM? Asking me. RM is the Malaysian currency. You know Malaysia country, which is called Ringgit Malaysia. Because this exercise being prepared based on some Malaysia study. So, give an example in the Malaysia ringgit. This Ringgit Malaysia. Okay, so just want to explain you that sometimes we can't get the balance between the debit and credit. So why it happens? For example, it happens that we lost some money. I mean, not the lost money is in that word, that the let's say in the direct word, that we have forget about some recordings, for example, maybe some little expenses. Sometimes it could happen because if we run a big company, we see how it would be difficult to record all the transactions. So what we do, if we have some difference between debit and credit, we are making of the balancing of accounts. So here is showing you how you can do it. Here is like this one, example of trial balance. Like on the left side, we have some sales, like 158, 260, 118. So company received some revenue, sales. And from the right side, we have some assets. So sales, you remember first, this is our company's capital. Capital, which is comes with together with the liabilities on one side. And the right side showing you company's assets, like bank. Like company have cash money, not the cash, the money itself on the accounts, like 158. So we have four kinds of transactions. You see, the bank, which is 158 pounds, and three kinds of sales. We have got the income from our businesses. You see, 158, 206, and 118. Now after that, we put on the right side those transactions. We have to calculate the total amount. To summarize, bank only 158, right? But what about the sales? The sales, we have the total amount is 482. So here is total amount 482 for sales. It incomes on the credit side, right? And the bank is a debit side, which is 158. So can you see any balance? No, of course. We have a difference between 482 and 158, right? So what we can do, how we can balance to carry down? So first, the stage one. So we must have add the amounts on the debit and credit side. So we have done it. You see, we already put the amounts on the right side, which is sales. All those sales are credit side, and the bank is the debit side, right? Stage two, take the higher side to deduct the lower side to obtain the balance. So we're taking which is the higher side. It's the 482, right? So we deduct it, and we are going to deduct it 158. Just simple one. 482 minus 158, and we got 324, right? This is I wanna show you first the calculation itself. So next step, stage 3. Enter the balance here so that the totals will be equal. We must enter the difference of the debit and credit, the difference amounts between the debit and credit on the bank, which is called balance carried down, which is 324. We put like this. And after that, when we do calculations of the total amount, bank and the balance carried down, we can get the 482, right? So next step, the stage 4. Now enter total levels with each other. So first sales, which we have 482, and now is equal to our assets, which is 482 as well, because we balance carried down, put the amount 324 under bank. We put it under assets. So next one, stage 5. Finally, now you have a balance. No, but the balance is we have with the help of balance carried down, right? The stage 5. Finally, enter the balance to start off entries from the following months. The step 1. So we have to the balance brought down. So we should put the 324, and this comes for the next month. You see, for example, this trial balance has been prepared for 1 month at the end of February, and the next March, as coming the March, yes, today is the 1st March, we must show in our balance that we brought down it for 324. this one for 324. Because this money never goes out, or we have to show that we're going to bring down the balance in the next month for this money. So why this happens like this? For example, as you can see, in the bank we have not enough money, right? In the sales we have some money. So we have a sales, a lot of money for 482. We sold the products. But in the bank, as the cash, we have only 158. That means this here could happen when we sell the products on credit, right? We sell the products on credit and we haven't received the money, the payment from our customers. And why we have a so low the amount in our banks? We haven't received it, but we are going to receive it in the future maybe. So, and we are balancing, and we're carrying down our balance for 324. And the next month, as the March, it comes with the brought down with this amount. As we can see, it's a minus, like expense would be seen. But next month, hopefully we will get some equation between the debit and credit side. Maybe this money we can receive. But sometimes it could happen like about the drawings. When the owner takes the money, maybe the owner has taken this money, which is 324, for his own use, right? And he didn't return it to the business. He just spent it, and it seems as expenses. Now what the business can do with the balance? He can bring down the balance for 324. This is the answer. This is a normal situation. It could happen at any company. It's common actually situations. Some of you say that if a company can do the sales on the cash? Of course, it's the better solution to get the cash from your goods, from your customers. But if you are like running the company, which is do some sales, not like selling the fruits in the shop, which customers pay you cash, but sometimes maybe you sell on credit, or the money would be sent to your bank later. Like some customer borrowing from you the goods, like your friend come to your shop and he or she maybe doesn't have any money cash to pay for fruits, and asking to borrow those fruits and bring you money later. And after that, maybe forget about his or her borrowings. And now what you can do with your friend? You can bring down your balance or ask him or her to return the money itself, right? This is like in the simple examples that I just explained you. But in bigger companies, it could happen. You do some services, and your customers say that we pay later, and then company cannot pay because maybe they have been bankrupt, or they have another kind of expenses, or they made. It's a lot of kind of reasons could be for this situation. But to run the business, we must accept any kind of payments by cash, or by check, or by bank transfers, or by credits. It's a business. All the people are working like this. It's no any kind of one rule pay by the cash. So you're adapting for the market. So you do your own the best. So this is called the balance of accounts. So I just explained you these things. You must do understand and remember it, because later I'll be giving you some examples based on trial balance. And sometimes maybe you would have the same situation. you won't find the equation between debit and credit. And you might think that you have done something wrong. But maybe you have done all the correct way, and you have to calculate your balance. You do with help of this instruction how to balancing of your accounts. Okay. So this could happen, but sometimes I give some equal trial balance, where you have equation between debit and credit sides. But the students, you know, I have some situations. They were thinking that I was given a wrong balance, like they must carry down the balance, and they do that. But actually, they was wrong when they recording the transaction itself. They put on the wrong side the credit for the debit side, for example, or other things. So, and when I give you some balance to prepare the balance, you might find first the equations, the balance itself between the credit and debit side, and I won't tell you do that. Does this trial balance have an equation or not? Because it would be not interesting for you. So you have to use your brains to make solutions and to find the correct answers. So that's why I'm talking about this, because I'm going to give you the homework assignment based on trial balance. So let me show you this one quick review question. So transactions involving involving the Adley enterprise throughout the month of February 2001. So we have some company which calls the Adley enterprise, and it has made some transactions during the 1 month, February, and you must show the trial balance for these all transactions and get the equation between the balance, credit and debit side. Okay, so let's review the transaction itself. So purchase office supplies by cash of 274 Malaysian ringgit. Or RM or USD, it doesn't matter in what currency. So purchase office supplies by cash. So this is, you see, this is transaction. Now you must to record this transaction in the trial balance. To put this transaction in the trial balance. So first you must identify what kind of transaction is expenses, is revenue, or is assets. First, purchase office supplies. That means we buy some office supplies. So we made some expenses, right? For 274. And our expense has been increased. As expense being increased, we show on the credit side. Another way, office supplies. Purchase office supplies, that means we bought some office equipment like table and chairs. There has been increased in our company, in our offices. As well, it's our assets. And if it's increased, we show on the debit side, right? So if you do show me, so debit side, you show like office supplies, the office equipment has been increased. And have you shown me? And the credit side, you show that the expense has been increased, right? Expense on the credit side, like this. But this is, we are showing that the double entry, just right now, I showed you double entry. But you must apply this transaction to the trial balance, like previously have shown you, like this one. Like office supplies. That means the most important here is, it's not that we made expenses. The word that means we should purchase office supplies, that our asset has been increased in our company. That office supplies, we show that, for example, accounts will be like office supplies. If we have here is, no, we don't have. Anyway, we put like office supplies here, and the amount, which is 2074, we put on the debit side because it has been increased. This is what we do. Next one, you have to do your own. Like Edlin withdrew the cash from the business totaling of 2,000 for personal use. So what is it? It's drawings, right? And drawings has been increased for 2,000. As drawings is our expenses, is our assets. We show on the credit side for 2,000. It has been increased, right? Yes, right. You see, I'm already receiving your answers. You put the right side, so that means you do understand what you must do, how you must prepare the balance, the trial balance. So this transaction for you, you must prepare the trial balance, and this is the example how you must prepare the trial balance, how you must framework to frame your balance. Like under the ring Kyber service, you put the Edlin enterprise, and you call it trial balance, as at the February, which is of February 2001. Oh, sorry. So you put all the accounts here. You must as well put the figures of those accounts, amounts, and find to me the total balance between debit and credit side. What I would like to say you might have a balance to carry down, maybe, or maybe not. This is depends on the exercise and depends how you do, in what way you do your assignment. So any question, if it's clear, we can move. So we have learned about the double entry, right? But mostly we use a double entry to identify our transaction is on credit side or in the debit side, because we do that to prepare the trial balance itself. Now you shouldn't concern about the key account that I showed you to show on the credit debit side. You must concern about how to create the trial balance. Where to put accounts in which side, debit or credit. So we have some, I want to explain you, we have some error that will not affect the trial balance to balance. Why it happens? When we don't have a balance in our balance sheet itself. So here is giving you examples on the 2 slides. And the time is getting already, so let me think. So let me introduce you quickly in 5 minutes, and then we can finish the class, okay? And you can start to do your homework. So firstly, I would like to say that all of you have this presentation based on trial balance. All of you, I have sent you already. But if who doesn't have, just let me know. I will send you again, because I was sending the 2 weeks ago, I think so, before I canceled the class, the previous class. Yeah, you have got this line. So let me finish this explanation, then I can start with explanation of your final exam. As the last time I was disconnected, I'm sorry because of my computer problem. Now I am using another one. So why we have some errors which happens in the trial balance, like why we should carry down our balance. First is the error of omission cost. And this type of error occurs when a transaction is completely omitted from the books. Like it's lost from the books, so that we cannot find these transactions and what happened with that transaction, and we can get some kind of errors in the trial balance. So the transaction is being omitted from the accounts. I just want to explain you more briefly about the omitted. I hope you know these words. So that means we have made some mistakes in the balance. Just put, which is like assets, as for example, it increased in the debit side, and we put on the credit side. That we made just mistake. Yes, this is when we do some mistakes, put on the wrong side our transaction, we can get some errors that we cannot find the equation in our balance. Next one is the error of commission. This occurs when the correct amount is entered, but in the wrong person's account. This also could happen, that we have a correct amount we enter on the right side, but in the different person's account. Could happen. Like I have paid the bill for electricity, but in my transaction I show that I paid not electricity, but I paid for water. This is like just mistakes as well. Could happen. Next one, error of principal. This type of error occurs when an item is entered in the wrong class of account. Like you might think that drones is not expensive, or it's like the company's like liabilities. Like an owner must return it has bought from the company, and you might think that is the company liabilities maybe. But it's not company's liability. First is the liability of the owner itself from his own budget. He must return those money which he has taken for his own use. So this could happen when we enter the wrong class of account. Next one, the compensating error. This occurs where errors cancel each other. For example, we have some transactions, two kinds of transactions with the same amount, and we put on the wrong side, both of them. But they are actually they cancel each of them, because if we put which should be on the debit, we put on the credit side. If those which we should put on the credit, we put on the debit side. But the amount is the same. It's like in maths. Yes, it will be shown the same balance. Another one is the error of original entry. This occurs when the original figure is wrongly calculated. Original figure, like for example, we have paying some commissions for bank, and we calculated that our calculation was wrong. We have to pay 1,000, but I calculated that I have to pay 800 only for the bank, and this is as well could be happen. And I paid 800, but by the bills, but the invoice I have to pay 1,000 more than it. This could happen when you do some like it's a human mistakes when we do some calculation, simple one. It also could happen when the accounts work a lot, they would be tired and can do some mistakes. And if we have some kind of these mistakes, we can't find the balance, the equation in our statements, right? Another one, the errors of reversal of entry. Sorry, this type of error occurs where the correct amounts are used, but this item is shown on the wrong side of account. This is, as I told you, that we use the correct amounts, all the accounts as well, correct the names of accounts and the amount as well, but we put on the wrong side. This is the main mistake that the students do when they try to prepare trial balance. They put like some transactions on the credit side, which must be on the debit side, or in the opposite. You know, maybe they confuse with the with the name of transactions which belongs to the assets, or it belongs to the liabilities or the capital. So this is the main mistake which is happened with the students when we prepare the trial balance. So, and that's all for today. So next session would be about the preparation of final accounts and the balance sheet itself. So now, based on this topic, you have a homework assignment based on trial balance. You must prepare the trial balance using the transactions, right? If you have any questions regarding this, how to prepare, just email to me. And next one, I would like to explain about the finance exam. Actually, I will send you the instruction based on finance exam. If I didn't, I think I forget. I am sorry for that. But that was the hard time for the last weeks, and I do it for the next week. So instruction on the finance exam. First thing, I would like to explain you based on the previous class which we have with the students. I have given them 8 assignments. Sorry. The assignments was based on the accounting exercises, which was include all the exercise we have done during the classes, like you have done previously. What you have done, the accounting concepts, and as well about the liabilities accounts where it should increase or decrease. You remember? Now I'm giving trial balance. So the sum of exercise will be based on trial balance. I give you some transactions, and you must prepare the trial balance, the correct trial balance. And all the questions will be based on your topics that you have studied during the semester. It would be not given to you something in new one. All will be similar that we do every classes, that we will do the later. And as well, the finance exam actually is as its exam. You do some practical exercises, you do calculation. It's not you do like writing assignments or essay like this. I will give you 1 day only to complete your assignments, to send me your answer papers. So for example, if I give you on Friday at 6 o'clock by Kabul time, we'll send you by emails the final exam assignments. Then you're supposed to send me your answers by the next day, by the 6 p.m. and the next day, which would be Saturday, for example. So you will have 24 hours to complete your exam assignments. And mostly will be based on calculation, not theory questions, because theory is theory. You can see, copy, and paste, for example, or it's not so important as a practical exercise, because when you do your own calculation, you can remind all those things, how to make accounts, and you will be able to use it in your future careers, in your future life. Okay, I have some questions and offers that give you more than 1 day to complete your assignments. You don't worry. The previous class had the 8 kind of exercise. For you would be maybe given only 5 or 6. I won't give you the previous one, which the student have. I prepare for you a new one exercise, a new practical exercise. So it will be different from the previous one. And as I know, you say that it's not enough time. But as I know, the same exam I had during my study, and it was given me 2 hours only to complete the calculations, and not use the calculator and books and the PowerPoint presentations or the internet itself. You know how we had on our school exam, when you sit with your paper and in one hand the pencil, that's all what you have. All mobiles must be switched off and submitted to the examiners. So you have just only clean paper and pencil and assignment that's given you by the teacher. So you have, and you must done it during 2 hours. But as you are online students, we have some internet connection problems, and we live in different countries. I'm giving you 24 hours, and you can use your calculator, you can use your notes, you can use the e-books, your presentations, you can use the internet itself, you can use 24 hours, you can use your friends' help even to solve the exercise, right? So it's more easier for you as the another students who study at the universities. So, and I hope I won't get any complaints based on that, as I know that all the questions would be similarly that we have and we will have in the future. So, just wanna see your messages. Yay, this is like distance exams. For example, most of my friends, they all as well had a distance study at the universities. And same things was, they must be send their exam paper during the 6-7 hours. It's not given one day. You know, one day is a lot. I mean, it's enough time to complete your assignments. So, as I'm considering about your time, that you are all busy working, have a family, as well low connection with internet and so on. And I am planning to give you 1 day. So, and some of you asking me, do we have any final project? So the final exam is itself the final project, and you'll be evaluated based on your final exam, based on your papers. So exam will be when we will complete all topics that we have. We have actually 10 classes. Today is the 3rd class. Yes, right, 3rd class. But I think maybe we would get another 2 additional classes, 12 classes, to make practical exercise much more. I mean, to have some practice. And after that, it will be, I think, April, May, in May, I think so. In May, at the middle of May or end of May, you will have the final exam. After when we complete all the topics based on exam, based on finance. So the end of May or middle of May. So you have at least 2 months, March and April, to be prepared. You see, you have a lot of time to be prepared, and you will have a practice as well. So don't worry about that, how you can complete the final exam. The previous class, they have done quite good. I mean, they have got a good marks. Some of them, not most of them, but a lot of students have got the highest marks. So I was very appreciated that they I was satisfied because they do understand the accounts itself, the finance itself. So if you know, I'm not sure, do you know how the marks is distributed? Like we have systems, the marks comes with the points from 0 to 4. And the 4 is the highest, is a good mark. And if you have a 0, that means you didn't pass the exam or assignment. From starting of 2 points, 2.0, that means you passed the exam or any assignment. from the 0 to 2, you didn't pass the exam. You need, I don't know, maybe the lecturer would be giving you a chance to submit the second time. It will be discussed later. So 0 to 4. This is the assessment based on the point grades. Point grades. Just would like to type for you. This is what is various administrations given me. I hope it didn't much change. If it changed, we'll let you know. So the point grades from 0 to 4, the highest is the better. And that's from 0 to 2, from actually 2 to 4, you pass the exam. Like that, something. In my university, I had a different system. We had the marks based on the points, but it was from 1 to 15. You know, it was much more complicated. I'd like to say, much more complicated. So yes, some of you ask me when I do send you the next one topic. We'll send you. You will send you on Monday. So on Monday you will receive exactly this topic. Sorry, based on final accounts and balance sheet. As well, I will send you the instruction based on final exam. Because right now I just explained you, but you must show in details, in steps, how we do exams, what kind of question will be, and as well as I know not all students are participating in the class, they will be able to see this information. So this is all for today. If any questions so far based on the topic, based on the exam, or your if you're asking me to explain this time again. So you have some transactions, right? And you must put this transaction on the trial balance. That means first you must identify the transaction first. What is assets, liabilities, or company's capital, right? Like office supplies. What is this? Office equipment. The company bought office equipment. What is office equipment? Office equipment is our resources, right? It's company's assets. If we have bought it, we purchase it like that. That means it increased, and we put it on the credit side, 274, right? Next one example: the Edlin withdrew the cash from the business. He has taken cash from the company. It's a drawing. What is a drawing? Drawings seems as expenses, right? If it's increased for 2,000, that means expense is increasing. We put on the credit side when our expenses has been increasing. So on the trial balance, you put like the name of account is drawings, and next one, the 2,000, you put on the credit side, which is the left hand side, right? Next one, you receive the 2,740 cash from the customer for payment on accounts receivable. You see, accounts receivable. So you have received money from your customers. So first, the account calls accounts receivable. That we have received the money, cash and cash. If it's increasing, the cash accounts receivable, here is maybe I have some, you see, here is example, this one, same as this, accounts receivable. So you put the accounts receivable of 2,740 on the credit side. As our cash as well received, and when the cash increases, we put on the credit side, right? And you see, the most important things, you must analyze every transaction. First, identify what is account actually, what it belongs to liabilities or assets or capital. Then you must identify if it's increased, where you should put on the credit side or the debit side. Or if it's decreased, like you paid some money, you should put on the debit side or the credit side, that your expense has been increased. You see, the first things is of those exercises, your analyzations based on transactions. If you can do it yourself, it will be correct. That means you can prepare any kind of trial balance based on transactions. That is very good. I mean, that is a good opportunity for you for your future as being a finance accountant or run your business and do all the transactions yourself. Okay, this is what I want to tell you. So that's all. So that's all for the explanations. Let me see some kind of questions I have. Okay, some of you asking me about the course answer of the last assignment. But this time is already getting for 2 hours. We are lecturing. I'm lecturing. So the next the home assignment, the last previous class, we're going to discuss on the next class. Okay, I think that will be okay. So on the next class, we have discussions based on the 2 homework assignments, which is the concepts and which is the trial balance. So we do a lot of practical exercise on the next classes. So that's all. So you can still send me your first or second, the previous assignment, because I haven't shown you the answer. That means I can accept your answers, your papers. And that's all for today. So thank you very much for your participation, for your question that you are interested in the class, that I'm really appreciate for that. So waiting for your papers based on the assignment on the trial balance. Any question, just email to me. That would be the best way. So good night, goodbye.